I will start by congratulating Glenn and his team for a wonderful, tremendously positive job that they did with the Cultural Compass. Jean Monnet once said, if I had to do it all over again, I would start with culture. And of course, we're not restarting, we're continuing that effort, but yes, today we are placing culture at the heart of our European political vision, where culture effectively belongs. With the Cultural Compass for Europe and the draft joint declaration that we are presenting to the European Parliament and to the Council, we are opening a new chapter for Europe. A chapter that reaffirms the strength of our culture and what it represents, our values, our freedoms, and who we are, our identity. And I would address three aspects in the following, and I would also present a bit of our vision and commitments, leaving, of course, to Commissioner Mikalev to get into the specifics. First, on culture as a foundation of Europe. Of course, culture is the foundation of our European project because it shapes who we are, it shapes how we live together, and how we are seen by the world. Every year, hundreds of millions of visitors come to Europe to see our cities, to be part of our festivities, of our festivals, to become acquainted with our heritage sites. This makes effectively Europe one of, if in fact, the most visited continent on our planet. And also the reverse is also true. As we leave Europe to visit other places, we immediately and unmistakably feel European. And this sense of belonging is essential, and it's one of our greatest strengths. Because feeling European or made in Europe stands for quality, for creativity, and for diversity. We must recognize these cultural values, we must promote them, both inside Europe and beyond our borders. Then, if we look at culture as an economic and social force, as an economic and social driver, of course, culture is more than identity. It's a powerful driver for growth, for innovation, and a huge driver for inclusion. Europe's cultural and creative industries employ nearly 8 million Europeans and generates an important amount, 20 billion euros in added value each year. This is a turnover that is significant looking at the economic data of our European Union. They bring vitality to our cities, but also to our rural regions alike. But we also know how fragile this ecosystem can be. We've seen during the pandemic what it meant when theaters, when cinemas, when museums went silent, went empty, and a big part of us went silent as well. And that experience reminded us how deeply culture nourishes our well-being and how essential it is to our way of life. We have seen the price of no culture, and we think that we must never pay that price again. Then a third element that I would want to tackle upon that is well reflected in the compass is the challenge, culture and technology. We must reconnect and innovate using new technologies, new opportunities that are offered to culture. In today's world, we do see that culture, education, not to stop only at culture, they are inseparable from technology in so many ways. We look at the artificial intelligence, at digital platforms, at how new media are transforming the ways that we create, that we share, and the ways that, of course, we experience culture and art. Now, these technologies are extraordinary opportunities, looking at immersive museums, augmented reality, 3D reconstruction of heritage sites, but it is important that we find a balanced way to look at ways in which technology serves culture and does not dominate it, of course, and it does not eradicate it as well. Technology must remain human-centered and fair to artists, to creators. AI should be a tool in the hands of creators and not a threat to their work or to their rights, including intellectual property, just to name a few. Now, on our commitments to uphold and support culture in Europe, the Culture Compass reaffirms important commitments, looking at artistic freedom, the right of every artist to create without fear of interference, cultural rights, so that everyone has access and benefits from Europe's cultural activities. And very importantly, this is connecting also with my direct portfolio as commissioner, the fair working condition of artists. Because freedom also means the ability to make a living from one's talent with proper rights, proper social protection. And again, we have seen this lesson during the pandemic, and we will work to remedy what we need to remedy in this aspect. Our commitments to culture is and will be matched by concrete actions and policy tools that will be detailed by Glenn. But before giving the floor to him, I would want to send the final message. Sometimes we maybe look at culture as a second or third tier priority, like it's not all the time the main story. I was looking even at this big room. Some colleagues left, some stayed. Thank you so much for your interest, and for those that are online. Culture is the story of Europe. Is not something that is auxiliary or a footnote. Is the story of Europe. It is who we are. It defines us. It defines our security, our internal security, our strength. You've spoken earlier about the democracy shield, about how we can tackle vulnerabilities, but also how can we stand up. Culture is one way to stand up and be Europeans in this bit tormented world that we are living in. So it deserves our budget, it deserves our policies, it deserves our attention, and this roadmap, I am absolutely convinced, that will be a roadmap for very practical and pragmatic action to support the entire ecosystem. Thank you so much, Glenn.